Thanks for joining in for today's session. So today we are going to talk about gut health, probiotic and prebiotic. So importance of probiotic and prebiotic for that matter. And tomorrow we have Ganesh festival. I know festival doesn't seem like before, like there's no more excitement happening around, but it's always better to celebrate. So do enjoy your Ganesh festival. I hope you all are prepared for the same. But just make sure that you all don't eat too much of modak, okay? Because too much of sugar will just cause more issues with your gut. And that's why we are here to discuss about the gut, on why gut is important. So when we talk about gut, um, our immunity, we have always said the immunity lies in your gut. It originates in your gut. And similarly, diseases as well originate in your gut. So many of you might have attended my previous session, which was ulcerative colitis. When we talk about ulcerative colitis or any gut issues, it's when your digestion goes for a toss. You can't digest and absorb proper food, or your gut lining starts getting irritated. The food starts entering into your blood. That's when the leaky gut happens. And this can then affect the immune system and increase autoimmune condition in the body. So that's why detoxification of your entire body and particularly your gut is really important, because as I said, disease as well actually develop in the gut itself. So you have to take care of your gut to make sure that you eliminate all disease causing toxins from the body. Now, you might have heard that our gut actually is our second brain. Now, this is not just a quote or a saying, but it is true, because your gut and your brain both originates from the same tissue. When we were in our mother's womb, that means during the fetal development time, one tissue got converted into central nervous system, the nervous system that runs in the periphery of your body, because the brain handles your hand function, your leg movement and all. And the second nervous system is your enteric nervous system. That means the nervous system that runs in your stomach. Now, how is the central and the enteric nervous system connected? It is connected through the vagus nerve. Now, vagus is the 10th cranial nerve that connects your brain stem to your abdomen. And that's why you might have noticed that if you have exam, if you have a presentation, or if you have a meeting, important meeting that you have to attend, or even if you're traveling somewhere, you do get a little butterflies in your tummy, or you do get a growling sound into the tummy, and you have to visit the loo immediately. Okay, so this is because your brain is giving that signal to the gut. Because the brain is stressed, that's how your gut responds to the brain function. Okay, and then it is vice versa as well. So for example, if you have acidity, or if you have bloating, or if you have gas production, you tend to get headache, or you tend to get heavy head, wherein you just want to sleep or lie down so that you feel relaxed. So it's that's how your brain is connected to your gut. Now, why it is important to take care of your gut is, it's not just about the immunity or immune system. It is very important, but it also takes care of your brain. So if your gut health is compromised, you are also compromising your brain. So that's why many brain related issues like Alzheimer's, depression, Parkinson's, that also starts with gut itself. That's why you have to take extra care of your gut, eliminate the toxins, and improve the good bacteria in your gut, because those good bacteria can keep a balance of acids in your stomach. Now, when we talk about good bacteria, we definitely need to talk about probiotics. What is probiotic? It is the good bacteria that you get from the fermented food. Good bacteria is present in our gut. Our gut also produces good bacteria, but the probiotics are the ones that you get from outside. That means I'll also be letting you know on few examples of pro and prebiotic. So you can keep a paper and pen handy, and you can just jot them down. Okay. So probiotic, as I said, is a live good bacteria which comes from the fermented food. They have several activities in your stomach, from digesting food to building immunity to maintaining the pH of your gut. Now, digesting of food means it helps in breaking down the digestive enzymes properly. It helps in breaking down the food properly so that it gets digested and absorbed well. When it comes to keeping your immunity high, that means it fights with the bad bacteria that are present in your gut already. So it fights with the bad bacteria, and it is like the survival of fittest. So good bacteria needs to be on a higher side, in higher number, and that's how it can take care of the bad bacteria and can prevent you from various diseases, and that's how it builds up your immunity. Third is it also balances the pH of your body, because good bacteria, they feed on their fertilizers. That is the prebiotic that we'll be talking ahead. So they feed on their fertilizers, and then they shift the stomach pH towards the acidic side. Now, when you say about the stomach pH being acidic side, that's how it needs to be. Your body needs to be alkaline, but your stomach needs to be acidic, because that's how it can digest the food properly. Those are the digestive acids that needs to stay stabilized. So your stomach pH should be somewhere around 2 to 3.5. Okay. If it goes above 3.5, like around 4, 4.5 or something, that means it is going towards neutral pH. And when the stomach acids starts reducing, or the stomach pH starts shifting towards neutral, it then allows bad bacteria as well to thrive inside. And that's where the probiotic come into picture. They fertilize the prebiotic, and during this process, they produce organic acids like lactic acid and acetic acid, which maintains the pH balance. So when the pH balance is maintained, definitely there will be no growth of bad bacteria seen. And then the probiotic, they also help in improving the cholesterol and bile metabolism, basically in the colon. Now, if the cholesterol and bile metabolite stays in the colon, it can create more toxins which can lead to ulcers, toxins which can lead to cancer-causing agents in the body. And that's why the probiotic plays an important role in prevention of all these issues by helping us in improving the metabolism. Okay. So the helpful bacteria lowers the serum cholesterol levels along with the other toxins, and it also reduces our cardiovascular cardiovascular disease risk. That means when your serum cholesterol levels are in check, your heart is functioning properly. There will be no plaque formation. That means your probiotics not only is taking care of your gut, but it is also taking care of various organs in the body, be it your immune system, be it your heart, or be it the entire digestive system for that matter. So that's how the good bacteria actually compete with the bad bacteria, so that the bad ones doesn't outnumber them. And this is how probiotic keeps our gut healthy. Now, what happens is when we are not well, or when we have any sort of infection, we do go ahead and take antibiotics. And now this antibiotics, it works on the body by killing bacteria. So it can't really differentiate between a good bacteria and a bad bacteria. So that's why it kills both the bacteria, and that's how the number of good bacteria in our gut starts reducing. Now, when a person is on antibiotic, you might have noticed that they face too much of gut-related issue, be it acidity, be it bloating. Sometimes it's also loose motion. So that's why it's very important to replenish the gut bacteria into the body, just to make sure that you take care of your digestive health completely, and you don't face such issues like acidity, gas, bloating, or diarrhea for that matter. So it is important to replenish your good bacteria. And to replenish the good bacteria, you need to look forward for the probiotics like A2 milk curd. Now, A2 milk curd is the Desi Gir cow's milk curd that you prepare at home, or you can now easily get it outside as well. We are not going for the normal curd that you get in market. We are going for particularly A2 milk curd, because that becomes really easier on digestion, and it is good for health. It will not cause any harm to the body, because the cows are not injected with hormone, and plus it is natural to our body. Natural as in it is not from a hybrid cow or something. It is from the desi cow itself. Now you can have A2 milk curd, or in cases wherein you are lactose intolerant, curd is still fine, because curd doesn't have lactose, it has lactase. But if you are suffering from autoimmune condition, then or if your gut is compromised and you need to avoid casein, then A2 curd needs to be avoided. In that case, you can go ahead with coconut curd, that is coconut milk curd, or almond milk curd, or the simple one is rice kanji that you can prepare at home. Rice kanji is nothing but just take 2 tablespoons of cooked rice, mix it with a cup of water. You can store it in a steel vessel, or you can store it in a mud pot as well. Keep it overnight. Next morning when you wake up, you take this first thing in the morning. You have to eat the rice and drink the water. If you want, you can add little salt for taste, but not more, because this will help in getting natural probiotics in the body, which will improve the good bacteria. Okay. The other options that you can incorporate is spirulina, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, kombucha, etc. So it is very important that you add probiotics into your routine, because it helps us in keeping the GI barrier intact, that is the gastrointestinal barrier intact. So last time we discussed that your mucosal lining gets affected. That's when the food particle starts entering the blood and you face leaky gut. So when you have good amount of probiotics, you keep the gut lining intact, and no food can enter through it. Okay, but yes, definitely you need to make sure that you have a good lifestyle and you chew your food well, so that it doesn't really irritate the gut lining. But good gut bacteria helps us in this way, and that's how it also keeps the immune system in check. Now, this was regarding the probiotic. What are prebiotics? Now, prebiotics, as I earlier just mentioned, that it is the fertilizer for probiotic. Prebiotic is a plant fiber, basically oligosaccharides, which are present in certain plant-based food like vegetables and fruit, and they act as a fertilizer for your probiotic. So when you take prebiotic, your probiotics can thrive on it. They can break it down. They can break it down as in not digest completely, but they can break it down to get food from them. And in this procedure, they produce gas, and they also produce acids. So as we discussed earlier, they produce lactic acid and acetic acid, so that your stomach pH is balanced. So this is how prebiotic comes in picture, and it is important to have good amount of prebiotic as well, because if your gut is compromised, you need a prebiotic and probiotic both, just to make sure that you start keeping a check on your gut health. Now, prebiotic is found in many fruits and vegetables like skin of apple, bananas, pineapple, onion, garlic, bean, asparagus, gluten-free oats groat, wheat bran, oats bran, flaxseed as well is a good source, barley, apple cider vinegar with mother, and lastly, isabgol. So these are a few examples of prebiotic. Now, as I mentioned earlier, prebiotic are plant fiber, that is particularly oligosaccharide. So it is not like all the fruits and vegetables will provide prebiotic to your body. These are the certain food that I mentioned, which will provide prebiotic fiber to the body. Our body generally requires 25 to 30 grams of fiber in a day, just to make sure that your stomach is creating proper motion, because fiber adds into the motion. And if you don't have enough of fiber, you feel constipated. That's why 25 to 30 grams of fiber in a day is completely fine. And out of that, if you take 5 to 7 grams of your prebiotic, that's good enough. 5 to 7 grams of prebiotic fiber are good enough to provide food for your probiotic. So you can incorporate onion, you can incorporate banana, garlic, flaxseed, gluten-free oats groat, apples into your routine, and this will give you a good amount of prebiotic into your routine. Now, when you have a good amount of pre and probiotic, definitely your gut health is going to be optimum. But then I have always been talking about moderation. So anything in excess is definitely not good for the body, be it your food or be it this pre or probiotic. If you have too much of probiotic, that means you are just increasing the number of bacteria in the body. At the same time, you provide prebiotics to them. So their fertilization process goes on. It means they are creating more of stomach acids. They are creating more of gas as well. When there is too much of gas happening in the body, or when there is too much of gas production happening in the body, you do feel bloated. So sometimes it's also if you overdo on your probiotics, you tend to feel gassy. I don't know, many of y'all might have noticed it or not, but just an example. I have seen many clients and they complain to me that the moment I take more of buttermilk or more of curd into my routine, I feel bloated or I start feeling heavy. That's the exact reason. You need to follow everything in moderation. Anything in excess can just put more pressure in your gut, and then you will face more issues like gas, bloating, and acidity, etc. So just make sure that you have everything in moderation. Excess of nothing is good for the body. So you need to keep your gut healthy and immunity strong, and it all starts with the gut. So just make sure that you keep a check on your gut and incorporate probiotics and prebiotics in moderation into your routine. Okay, and along with the pro and prebiotic, you also need to make sure that you have a proper water intake. Now, when you add too much of fiber into the body, it needs to get flushed out as well. So you need to have proper water intake, up to 3 liters of water on a daily basis, and sip on it so that it allows smooth elimination of toxins from the body, because water adds bulk to your motion along with the fiber. So you need to have a combination of both. Otherwise, if you are increasing your fiber intake and reducing your water intake, then you're just messing up with your gut. You will produce more of gas and toxins in the body rather than helping it out. So let's start focusing on including the things as we discussed into the routine to improve your good gut bacteria. Okay, so let's move on to the questions now.
Sure, Deepika. All right. So there's a question where someone is saying, we got tips. If you have a balanced diet, is it still necessary to have pre and probiotic food?
So if you have a balanced diet, it itself suggests that you are including the pre and probiotic into it. Balanced diet means you have your carbohydrates, pulse, and your protein basically can be pulse or your non-veg food as well, your vegetables and your fruits. So as I said, onion and garlic is like utilized daily into our routine. Every meal is cooked with onion and garlic. So if you're adding onion and garlic, you're already adding prebiotic into your routine, right? If you're making curd at home, if you're using curd into your routine, it can be buttermilk, it can be normal curd, it can be a raita, it can be a curry as well. Though curry is cooked, so it definitely kills maximum amount of good bacteria, but little amount is going in the body. So that's how it is balanced, and you are adding good bacteria, the probiotic and the prebiotic both into your routine.
Okay, super. Is fermented foods like probiotics and prebiotics suitable for cancer patients as well?
Yes, they are suitable. We do give prebiotic and probiotic to our cancer patients as well. But then what happens is their immunity is compromised, their digestion is compromised, and if they are undergoing chemotherapy or radiation, their gut health is really bad. So they can't really even digest the pro or prebiotic. In that case, supplementation comes in picture. So you have to talk to your healthcare provider and you can discuss about a good pre and probiotic supplement.
Okay. Thanks for answering that, Deepika. All right. Is there an instant remedy for hyperacidity?
Hyperacidity. It's always better to get to the root cause on why it has led to hyperacidity. You can't get hyperacidity in just one day. It is definitely built up since months or years. So one is go down to the root cause on what is causing it. Are you not sleeping well? Are you not eating well? How is your hydration level? How is the activity level? Are you not walking enough or are you not active enough? When you look into all this aspect, and then it also starts with the brain. So if you are stressed, you are definitely going to produce more acids in the body. That's what we learned in the session. It's always a nerve connection, vagus nerve connection. So if something is going in the brain, you are definitely going to get the side effects in the gut as well. So focus on tackling the root cause. And to control the acidity, you can just try and incorporate fennel into your routine. You either chew it after meal, or you can crush the fennel and boil it in water and just sip this water so that it starts cooling your body and reducing the acids.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Deepika. Kombucha preparation involves sugar. Is that okay to consume?
There are sugar-free kombucha as well. It always depends on what procedure you take. So we started by saying that you're not supposed to have too much of modak because it is definitely sugar, and sugar increases acid production in the body. So if you're having kombucha for probiotic, you are also adding more acids to the body. So try and go for kombucha which are not prepared with sugar, or maybe you can substitute it. You can use jaggery instead.
Okay, okay. What is the amount of water to be added to 2 teaspoons of rice for the rice kanji?
1 cup, around 100 to 150 ml.
Okay. And is one banana in the morning sufficient for daily fiber intake?
Daily fiber intake is 25 to 30 grams. So you definitely have to incorporate more of vegetables and fruit into your routine. At least 1 cup of vegetables should go with all the meal so that you get good amount of fiber. But yes, one banana gives you approximately 2 to 3 grams of prebiotic fiber. So one banana in a day is completely fine.
Okay. Another question is, what is the best time or the right time to have prebiotics and probiotics?
Empty stomach. So prebiotics, you can still have it any time of the day, but again, separately, no, you can actually have prebiotic with the meals as well, but probiotic should always be had on empty stomach. Unless you're having like a curd with your meal, that's fine. A few spoon of curd with the meal is fine. But if you're going for supplementation, then it should always be empty stomach, because that's how your probiotic get absorbed in the body. Like it gets absorbed in an acidic medium properly. So it requires acidic medium, and maybe first thing in the morning is the best time to have it.
Super, super. Does adding salt in the curd kill the probiotic bacteria?
Not really, because you add it for taste, so it will hardly be just a pinch, not even half a teaspoon or something. Just a pinch to taste will not kill the probiotic.
Okay. There's a question on the examples of prebiotic and probiotic as well. So I'm sure a lot of people have their pen and paper handy. If you could repeat that for them, please.
Okay. So let me go back to probiotic. It is A2 curd, okay, desi cow's curd, coconut milk curd, almond milk curd, rice kanji, spirulina, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, chlorella, kombucha. Now our pickles as well are probiotic because it is fermented, but it will be good if we make the pickle with very less amount of oil and salt. Only then it will be beneficial for the body, because if you want to add probiotic and if we have more of pickle, it is just going to increase more acidity in the body because of the oil and salt content. Okay, so pickle as well is a good source of probiotic, but better is to prepare it at home with very less quantity of oil and salt. Now this was about probiotic. Let's talk about prebiotic. We start with skin of apple, that is the pectin of apple, bananas, pineapple, onion, garlic, beans, can be French beans as well, asparagus, gluten-free oats groat, oats or wheat bran, flax seeds, barley, apple cider vinegar with mother, the liquid I'm talking about, and your isabgol.
Okay, super. There was a question on the plant fiber name that you had mentioned for prebiotics.
Oligosaccharide.
Okay, okay. Answered that. All right. Is it okay to have a piece of jaggery at the end of a meal and does it provide relief from acidity?
Not really. Jaggery will not provide relief from acidity. You can instead have a mixture of jeera and soft, because that will be cooling in nature, and it will control excess of acid production. If you want for taste, you can just mix say a pinch of jaggery powder into that, and have it after meal, immediately after meal, and chew it properly. You need to chew your meal, you need to chew everything properly, because that's how you improve the digestive enzymes. That's how you allow the salivary amylase to act on the food, and that's how you control excess acid production in the body.
Okay, we have time for one last question. So there's a question on heartburn. So does aloe vera juice, consuming it before and after meals, provide any relief?
That's a tricky question, actually. It depends on person to person. So we have noticed wherein people can take aloe vera juice and their gut health is completely fine. But it shouldn't be taken before or after meal. It's always better to take it in the morning. 30 ml of aloe vera juice shot is completely fine. And we have also seen people who take aloe vera juice shot, and that just increases their acidity. So it depends on person to person, individual to individual. If it is suiting you, you take 30 ml early morning, and this will be helpful. It will help in improving the gut health.
Excellent. Thanks for answering all these questions, Deepika. We have time for a quick recap before we end the call. So if you could just summarize a few points for us.
Great. So we started with why detoxification of gut is important, because our immunity lies in gut and disease as well lies in gut. If we don't detoxify our body, we increase the disease and decrease the immunity, and vice versa. So that's why detoxification is important. We saw the brain and gut connection. So it is connected via vagus nerve, that is the 10th cranial nerve. That's why today I'm taking this session and I have butterfly in my tummies, because I'm excited for the session. So it is how your brain and gut is connected. We saw about different function that probiotic does in our body. It controls the pH, it keeps the pH in check. It reduces the bad bacteria from the body so that we don't face more disease. It also boosts immune system. And we saw the examples of probiotic like A2 milk curd, coconut curd, almond milk curd, rice kanji, etc. We also saw about prebiotics. So what exactly is prebiotic? It is the fiber, the oligosaccharides that you get from plant fiber, which acts as a fertilizer for your probiotic. And then we saw how prebiotic helps in improving the gut health. We also saw the examples of prebiotic like onion, garlic, banana, apple, etc. And so we end up by saying that it is very important to maintain your gut health with moderation, because anything in excess is definitely not good for our health. So it's always better to have everything in moderation, be it your food, be it your supplement, be it your pro or prebiotic. And that's how you maintain your gut health, and that's how you stay away from diseases. Okay, so that's it from me, and wish you a very happy weekend ahead, guys. Enjoy the Ganesh festival and see you soon. Take care. Bye.